Congressman John Mica is chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good to be with you, Greta.
All right, the thought of systematically pulling apart GSA, I suppose we all would sort of like to get rid of GSA tonight, but that's rather impractical since somebody's got to run the physical structures of the government.
Well, you know, it's the biggest landlord in the world, the GSA. It runs all of our property that the people own. But how many people that, listening would turn over their property for the management by the federal government? I don't think many. And what Mr. Denham and I have discussed is maybe taking apart GSA. What you've seen here is only the tip of the iceberg. They're sitting on billions of dollars worth of assets and losing money in the billions every year with vacant public buildings, some of them not too far from where we're sitting tonight.
But how did, clowns and mind readers and iPods and bathtub nude pictures and glasses of wine, why did it take that for all of a sudden to realize there's billions of dollars being wasted?
Yeah, sometimes that's what gets the media and the public's attention.
But we don't have the oversight, though. You guys do. I mean,
well, we just held a hearing. I held a hearing in a vacant building that was vacant for 15 years a year ago. We had some attention to that. A few weeks before all this broke, Mr. Denham and I held a hearing in a vacant building, 89,000 square feet, vacant under GSA for over 5 years. But
what happened? I mean, you held a hearing, but what happened? Did you do anything? Did anything happen, or did you just hold a hearing?
Well, what we've done is we've also introduced legislation BRAC type, because GSA doesn't make a decision. They sit on these assets that are very valuable. They won't sell them, they won't lease them, they won't trade them, they won't make them have a return rather than a loss for the taxpayers. So what we did is we introduced a BRAC-type legislation, someone to make a decision.
Which means to reduce
that's sitting over in the Senate. We passed it in the House. So we have held hearings. We've asked for the accounting of their money. They've stonewalled us month after month. This has gone on for I've been chairman for a year and a quarter. Almost every single month except for the first month. And we held the first hearing in February over a year ago. They've stonewalled us. Now we see why they didn't want to give us the details, because the details are the devil is in the details, and now we're seeing the details of that's just their administrative expenditures.
I think Senator McCaskill is coming up. I think she'll tell you the same thing. Because she sent a series of letters over the last at least year or so, or 2 years, and has put a hard time gaining information.
We've been stonewalled, both the House and the Senate.
All right. Now, do you think the White House had? I mean, I know that the White House heard about this last May, but do you in any way sort of, assign blame to the White House on this?
Well, they were very quiet. I think this there was an attempt to brush this under the carpet, so to speak.
In what way?
Well, they were informed again. It was the communications from the GSA Council to the White House Council, as you said, last May. Here it is, not quite a year later, and it just comes out about a week ago. They knew about this, and they were also told again to stop the nonsense, to stop the waste and possible criminal activity, and nobody did anything.
And now they had the inspector. I suppose what they would say is,
and they wouldn't tell us.
Right? No, I understand that. I suppose what the White House would say, if the White House were here, is that there was an inspector general who was doing an investigation at the time, so perhaps didn't want to make a referral at the time.
He started the investigation. Breda alerted them in November after the October 2010 event, the convention.
So that's 6 months.
And he had 6 months to investigate it. He came up. They had the evidence. They presented it to the White House, and there's been silence out of the White House until this was all disclosed.
Why didn't the Inspector General? Does he not have the authority to refer this to the Justice Department?
Well, there are referrals now.
What now? But I'm just saying is that it took some explosive scandal.
I'm telling you, I think that everything was done to keep this quiet, hush-hush. And God bless Miss Britta, who worked for our committee. She went back the second time and blew the whistle on them. And only because one employee who did the right thing and pursued this with the Inspector General. Did it ever come out?
Well, I don't understand, though, even why some of these people who went to this conference didn't think something was awry. And you know, they can always send it. They can always send a note to the media. The media would be glad to seize upon this.
It seemed like it was standard operating procedure. You know, today we talked about his 17-day trip to Japan, to Atlanta, to Napa Valley.
Well,
it goes on and on. It sounds like a grand tour.
You'd think that he would have one sort of almost someone who didn't like him in the company, or in the government, who would have at least outed him.
And they were told back in May to tell him and them to stop this wasteful spending. And nothing was done. They went right ahead and did it. The record is there. It's documented. So the White House, too, knew what was going on. Others knew what was going on, and they were never stopped. And he didn't have the decency to show up and even take the fifth today. So I said the only way we may get to see him is on a video in his hot tub.
Frankly, say he didn't have the if he didn't have the decency to show up, if I were his lawyer, I would also suggest that he not show up, because I think he's in deep trouble. I know it did yesterday. I know, but he's in deep trouble.
He will either be subpoenaed or I'll ask for his suspension, because he's still on the taxpayer's dole.
But why is that? I mean, he doesn't have to be on the taxpayer dole.
He should have been taken off the taxpayer dole.
Can you influence that?
He should have been taken off the taxpayer dole when the Inspector General notified both the GSA administrator and the White House.
Can you influence that at least now? Because we're paying him for today and tomorrow.
I've been chairman of civil service for 4 years, and I can tell you it's just about impossible to fire a federal employee. There's so many appeals. There's so many levels.
Well, maybe that's another thing to work on while you guys are trying to figure out what to do with GSA.
Too many people protecting people who don't do their jobs.
Congressman, thank you, sir.
Good to be with you.
Good luck, sir.
Bye.